Can't you feel it? It's fairly crackling with arcane energy.
Good day there everyone, and welcome to another Guild Wars 2 video, and we're going to answer a question that we got in a comment on one of our previous videos. This was our beta weekend feedback video. We'll put a link to it in the description. And the question comes from Cosmonaut Ebel. I think that's how you say his name anyway. And he asks, or she asks, this past weekend I've got to level 18 with a Norn warrior, and once I've unlocked every single weapon on the warrior, I was already getting seriously bored of using the same skills over and over. There's no real build mobility. In Guild Wars 1 I could switch to whatever bar I felt like playing. I could rearrange and replan which skill or spell I'd put in. In Guild Wars 2 here it's a weapon, and it's always the same for all. What are your thoughts on this? So tell me, Rob, what are your thoughts on this?
I don't know. My thoughts are I can understand his point. I get his point that once you've unlocked all the weapons skills on your characters, that's it. There's no other skills for the weapons. Although there are the utility skills which you unlock, and actually ArenaNet can add additional ones at a later date even. So
Utility skills.
Yeah. Not weapons. I don't think it could. Well, it might be able to add weapons. I don't know, but definitely utility skills they could add at a later date to spice things up a little bit. I don't know. I don't really see a problem with this. Did you get bored of using the same skills over and over again, or did you not use the same skills over and over again?
No, I didn't really get bored, and I'm going to tell you why I didn't get bored. You know, you start a class, you get a weapon, you very quickly unlock all the moves for that weapon. But that's not the be-all and end-all of combat, is it? I mean, you're moving around, you're using utility abilities, you're dodging attacks, and when you finally unlock weapon swapping and you get your second weapon on the go, you're then using a different weapon, and you can alternate which weapons you put in those slots. You can use a different type of weapon and then start unlocking, other abilities. And I just didn't find myself getting particularly bored of the abilities that the weapon provided me, just because that wasn't, the final say on combat. The final say on combat was, what's going on in the situation, rather than me worrying about what abilities and moves I have in any kind of rotation. Because I didn't really have any kind of rotation. It was just kind of like, I've got a sword in my hand and I can swing it, or I've got a bow, a short bow, I can fire. I can do all these cool things, and it's just providing me with tools to deal with a situation.
Do you not think that when you get to level 80, though, that after you've played it for 3 months, maybe there's a chance that you're going to get bored of certain kind of the skills that are available to you, or do you think that's not going to be the case?
It's the same thing with everything, isn't it? After a long time of doing the same thing over and over again, you are inevitably going to get bored. It's just a natural part of life, really, isn't it? Let's be honest. But then I can just go and play another game. I can make another profession.
What? You can't play another game?
That's the thing with Guild Wars 2. I mean, I'm not subscribing, for them to keep the game interesting. If they bring out more content later, then I'll come back and play it. But if I get bored of Guild Wars 2, I'll just stop playing it, and I won't really have the problem of, well, I'm subscribed, so I feel like I need to play a certain amount. But I just don't feel like. I mean, yeah, obviously it will get boring eventually, but that happens with everything.
Yeah, I don't know what it was like in Guild Wars 1. I really don't. The game confuses the hell out of me every time I try and play it, which I have tried a few more times since I bought it years ago, and I got bored of it when I was playing WoW because it just made me want to play WoW. Yeah, so looking at World of Warcraft and its builds, it doesn't really have any builds other than depending on which is the highest damage for the time, I suppose, or the most efficient in a sense, which changes. So I don't know. It's kind of like there are a limited amount of skills, but I don't think they're particularly lacking, especially with the weapon swapping. I didn't find I was bored. I actually found it more interesting that when you had two weapons sets and you were switching between them, using the abilities on one to then enhance the abilities on the other one, was actually really nice, and I don't think that sort of elevated it above the simple act of pressing one skill or one, using one set of weapons. It kind of like merged them into something else.
Yeah.
And then with the utility skills, I think it'll be. I don't see myself getting bored of them because I don't really see myself focusing on them. I suppose it's
at least until the game itself naturally just kind of gets to the end of its lifespan, which will happen.
Oh, I'm sure it will. I mean, obviously I'm not going to be playing just one character. Definitely going to be starting off as a Mesmer, but I'm definitely going to have other characters. So again,
yeah, there's just so much to do, and that's the other thing, isn't it? Like I was trying to say before, combat's so dynamic that the moves almost just seem secondary to actually just tackling what's going on in a weird kind of way, rather than in other games where you're consciously like trying to do a rotation or go through a cycle and that's it. The combat's dynamic enough, and I kind of get the feeling that the way the weapon system works is kind of just a simplified version of having 1,000,001 different abilities spread throughout the spellbook and talent trees and things like that.
Yeah, it's definitely better having a group of abilities which are all useful, rather than having 4 million abilities where only 5 are useful, because that's basically what other MMOs do. I can't really speak for Guild Wars 1. I didn't get it, but yeah, it's you don't ever use all your skills in these games. You always just use the ones which are either the ones that which complement your build, or do the best kind of rotational damage or healing, depending on what you're doing at the time.
Yeah. Anyway,
so no, I don't think it'll get boring.
Yeah. So anyway, we hope that kind of addressed your question, Cosmonaut Table. Thanks again, guys, for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to be notified about future videos. Do leave any comments you have about this very interesting topic in the comments section below, and we look forward to seeing you in the very near future. So, see you later.
Bye.